It turns out that agents of ICE don't like being called Nazis, even when they do Nazi-esque things. Fun. All right, so now let me give you some context on this. So a pair of filmmakers was able to get access to film and talk to ICE agents, and it basically allowed them to share their stories, right? And so what we get from that is a lot of irony. So now these filmmakers are Charles Schwartz and Christina Kluschau, and they were allowed to follow federal officers and agents, according to Newsweek, as they enforced Trump's administration's most controversial immigration policies, including the government's zero tolerance policy of family separation at the border. So now these ICE agents, they spoke to Newsweek, they spoke to these people, these filmmakers, and what they had to say was actually pretty interesting. So now first they talk about what policy that they're using. And this matters, right? So one ICE supervisor in this documentary said, start taking collaterals. Now, what are collaterals? Well, collaterals are essentially undocumented immigrants identified during a targeted arrest, right? So now they target people, and if there happen to be undocumented immigrants around, the collaterals are basically those people, right? So they go and grab the target, and then if they find anyone else undocumented, they grab them too, even though they haven't really actually done anything wrong other than be in the country illegally, right? And so there's that. And so these ICE agents are like, no, no, no. We need to target more collaterals. Bring me more collaterals. I must have more, right? And so, of course, there's a reason for that. There's bragging rights. Apparently, they think it's freaking awesome to go and drag people out who haven't done anything wrong, even though they're supposed to. At least this is what Donald Trump and Republicans claim. You're supposed to go after the criminals and the bad people, the bad hombres. Well, they're not going after the bad hombres. They're also getting the collaterals for people that haven't done anything wrong while staying in this country. And so these guys are bragging about bringing them in. Speaking with individual agents, Schwartz and Clouseau found that some appeared contrite over their role in enforcing Trump's crackdown, while others were defending their work. One agent in New York told the filmmakers, quote, it's like too much, describing how ICE agents had gone from arresting less than 8 people a week under the Obama administration to making more than 8 arrests in a single day. Quote, it's like the floodgates opened and no one's used to this. It's not like, okay, we went back to the way we were. We were never like this. It's a different world. Another agent complained about being seen as the bad guys in society. Quote, we constantly look like we're the bad guys when all we're doing is enforcing the laws and doing our job. It gets to me sometimes because I feel like, we have no respect. Oh, you're upset because people think you're the bad guy. Who the hell do you think you are? You're separating families. You're abusing immigrants in jails. You're destroying supplies for people who just crossed a dangerous stretch of desert. You guys are the bad guys. You are the bad guys. And I know they're like, well, we're just doing our jobs. Oh, okay, that's the Nuremberg defense. Because, I can't believe people would just call us terrible things because we're doing terrible things. Oh, man. I mean, that's literally what Nazis have said. Did you just need to go in these camps? What? I'm just doing my job. Why are you calling me a Nazi? It's just enforcing the law. Excuse me. No, you have a choice. You could quit. Why don't you just quit? Stop being an agent. But as you're going to see, they love what they do. In fact, the administration, according to the agent, says they've changed. The administration has changed, and now we're finally allowed to do our jobs. To be honest with you, I honestly still cannot believe that he's our president. It's the best thing and worst thing that could have happened to us. Another agent said, quote, ICE isn't a fan favorite of anybody's. We're like Nazis. How can you do this? We're used to it. And I mean, I love my job. I do. I have a good, stable home and I make money. Oh, good for you. Wow. That's so nice. Destroying people's lives for a fascist. Good for you. Well, I'm glad that you're doing okay. That same agent, of course, went in, against criticisms for people comparing ICE to Nazis. The agent said, quote, to be called a Nazi, a racist, it's just ignorant. It's just ignorant. Oh, really? He said, quote, we don't pick and choose groups of people based on race, color, religion. We just look for people who are removable. Really? Well, those people who are removable, they almost always happen to be people of color. Or people, based on their religion, right? Where they would go after, or wanted to go after the Muslims, for example. Now, look, I'm sorry you don't like being called a Nazi, but maybe you shouldn't be surprised that when you do fascist things, you get called a fascist. I'm just saying. You guys remember the Facebook posts, right? From these some of these border agents. There was a group of about 9,000, 9,500, I believe, current or former Border Patrol agents, and it wasn't necessarily all of them were current or former. Could be family members or friends, but generally there was this group was full of Border Patrol people were saying some of the worst things about immigrants. For example, in this group, just weeks before the death of a father and his daughter while crossing the Rio Grande, captured national attention. Border Patrol Facebook groups were filled with posts about alligator sightings in the river, saying, quote, medieval solutions to a modern problem. Let's stock the river with gators. This needs to be crowdfunded. Can the river system ecosystem support sharks? Huh. Oh, that's real funny, right? Super funny, right? Talking about immigrants being eaten by alligators and sharks. That's top tier comedy, guys. Really, really. Another agent lamented about his chance or missing his chance to shoot an immigrant. Another posted, they're like wild animals. Stop feeding them and they won't hang around and shit on the street. Verbatim. And you guys also remember the most famous examples of this, the post from this group, was about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. When she went to go visit a border encampment, they said all sorts of terrible things about her, even photoshopping images of her, doing sexual things to Donald Trump. And so forcibly. And so it's just incredibly gross. And this came primarily from the 1015 border group. 1015, by the way, is code for when they catch an undocumented immigrant and have them in custody. They also called them tonks, immigrants. Why did they do that? Well, because tonk is the sound it makes, they say, when you hit an immigrant in the head with a nightstick. Yeah. Oh, but no, we don't like being called racist. Yeah, it's so ignorant that you would call us racist or make a comparison that we're Nazis. Do Nazi shit, be called a Nazi. That's what's going to happen. I mean, me thinks thou doth protesteth too much on that. So that said, there are some employees that said that they were uncomfortable with this. One says most of our targets are criminals. That's where the collaterals are kind of like, kind of the victim. It's an unfortunate situation because a lot of these guys are hardworking individuals. They're here to work and provide for their family. They just get caught up in politics. If you look at it, it's how it is. Well, no, it's not how it is. Again, you can see what a lot of these people actually think, that they actually really do enjoy their job. Another ICE fugitive operations agent, however, said he refuses to arrest collaterals. He says, I don't do collaterals. I just don't think it's right. If I get somebody that's not cooperative, it's a different story. But if you let me come into your house and talk to me, I'm not going to roll your fingerprints and arrest you for being here illegally. I know it's my job, but I got guys that are aggravated felons and that I'd like to catch. I don't care about the guy that's minding his own business and cooperating with me. Another person was not happy about performing arrests. that see families separated. Quote, it gets sensitive when the kids are involved. I'm a dad. It's tough when the kids are involved. Nobody wants to see children hurt. Sometimes it happens. It's not very nice, but that's the law. Well, okay, but here's the thing, right? That's not a justification for doing that. A bad law is a bad law, period. And you've got the option of resigning in protest until those laws are changed. You could do something. You could actually do something. But instead, sure, you're going to sit here and talk about how it's not fair, how it sucks. Oh my gosh, I can't believe all the terrible things that we're doing. But also still benefiting from that, still making money, still living in your nice house, driving your nice car, and not really giving up anything. I mean, sure, the one guy says, well, at least I don't do collaterals. Okay, that's better. You could definitely refuse to do that. But you're not really changing the system. You're not really changing the overall like atmosphere, of this agency. And so it continues the status quo where people are getting hurt. But hey, I feel bad about it. No, not good enough. Not good enough. Look, this agency shouldn't exist. Abolish ICE. That's it. Period. Abolish ICE. And look, if maybe we should use the money to fix the conditions in which, in this country and in other countries that cause immigration like this in the first place. Again, a lot of these people are here because first, there are huge problems in these Central American countries. For example, poverty, gang violence, drug violence, corruption in the government, things like that. People that, are really living in fear of their own lives. Why don't we do something about that? But Jeff, that's not our problem, right? No, it is our problem. It is. For one, it's partly or mostly our fault. I mean, the drug war has ravaged Central American countries. Our drug war. Not only that, we got to end the giant corn subsidies, right? You might think, wait, corn subsidies? What are you talking about? We subsidize the shit out of corn. That's why everything you eat is made out of corn syrup or has some sort of corn product in it, right? And so that subsidizing, us doing that, the government doing that, basically made it so that Mexican farmers, they couldn't make money selling their corn on the world market. And so they stopped doing it. And so they were not able to make a living in these areas. And so what else are they going to do? What else are they going to do? Well, they're going to have to go somewhere where they can actually make a living. Mexico is full of drug violence as well, spurred on again because of our drug war. And you've got, again, a lot of these governments in Central America and South America that are affected by our drug war. And not just our drug war, but we also seem to have this habit of overthrowing leftist or left-leaning leaders in these Latin American countries and in helping them install right-wing leaders that do gigantic human rights abuses that for some reason people want to escape. Who knew? And they will come to America to escape or go through America to go to Canada. And so that's what we're doing. Maybe we should stop doing that. Stop destabilizing and deposing left-wing South American governments or Central American governments and replacing them with fascists. We should stop doing that. We contributed to a lot of these problems. And so, yeah, it is partly on us to fix it. Or at least at the very least to take in the people and make citizens those whose countries we actually ultimately destroy. It's just a bare minimum.